I mean, you before we started this interview, before AG came back in, and said AG might be the next, Henry Bloom, Noble. Sorry.
Absolutely. I mean, we have to be realistic about the size of the Isle of Man and what AG has done for the Isle of Man. Over the years, many of the things that he's endeavoured to do have come to fruition, but there's an awful lot more haven't. Things that perhaps I shouldn't tell you about and can't tell you about that he's tried to do and they haven't perhaps worked out the way we wanted. He has, since arriving here in the 70s, based his business here and employed people, lots of people here, senior people. We're not talking about, small positions. And this has helped in other ways when significant businesses base themselves on the Isle of Man. It tells the business community that there's confidence in the Isle of Man, that there's stability in the Isle of Man. And that has helped. And there have been others that have done that as well, other very wealthy people. But as an island, we should look at these people with some gratitude that they came and put their confidence in us, because without them, we'd still be on spuds and herring.
The thing is, what's coming across here, you two are so close. I ask AG a question and you answer it, and you just sit there nodding away or correcting if required.
I'm sorry, I shouldn't do that. I shouldn't do that. But, it's hard in front of the camera.
Because you won't say it. AG won't say it.
To portray the
Yeah,
relationship.
but if I'm agreeing, isn't that sufficient?
Well, is it?
Well, of course it is, otherwise I'd say you're a fibber.
He would. No, he wouldn't. He'd be more direct. But, unfortunately...
I don't know that I've ever had an interview before, sort of straight at me, the person. It's always been business, or it's always been attached to some subject. Now it's different, taking me a little bit by surprise, I suppose.
And this is what you said to me after we talked the other day, that you said, I'm missing it. I'm missing Albert Gubay in this interview. Because all we do is talk about a subject
I
matter.
don't think I said that, he said that.
On your behalf, probably.
Yeah.
You're suggesting now I write his script?
Well, it is true. Everybody that I've ever seen, every interview has been about the subject matter. And it kind of misses the point, because opportunities are going down the pan. I'm not going to be here forever. Unfortunately, my Lord and Master is going to call me to his side, and the Isle of Man will be a sadder place when I'm gone. And you won't have the opportunity to interview me. I've said to AG many times, he's very, very fortunate, because only the good die young, so he's going to be here forever. I've got a terminal time here. In 100 years from now, when all of the things that AG have done, and history rewrites the pages, and it's all there, and the front cover of the book isn't Henry Bloom, it's Albert. Nobody's going to really know the person behind the face on the cover of the book. And I think that's what's important.
What book?
Well, yeah, there won't be a book. Someone will write it, you know that, don't you? The trouble is, if you don't let someone write it and get the official version, you'll get the unofficial.
They'll get it wrong.
But that's the important thing. And I think sometimes the Manx crab cuts in, and people are always very quick to criticise and quick to have a go. And it's the old thing, isn't it? You don't know what you've got till it's gone. And, we should be sending a message to so many people in the UK. I look to when AG set up the trust. John Nugent said we've spent many years, and it's been real hurdles setting up this trust, and I couldn't understand why it took so long. and AG explained to me, he said, when you set up a trust, you don't want it ever to fall into the hands of politicians, because all politicians can do is flitter it all away. So you have to have these protections in against abuse and all the rest of it.
Also from individuals.
And protected from individuals, because no matter what you do, someone's going to try and abuse the situation. Having got it, having published it, having put so much money into it, in a conversation with John Mugent, I said to him, you know, now that you've gone public with this, have you had any responses, you know, from other entrepreneurs or philanthropists that want to put money with the Isle of Man? Expecting him to say, no. I said, Brian, in the last week, I think he had 48. 48 people who are considering putting a significant chunk of their wealth into trusts to be administered by the Isle of Man. Look, our economy needs that, Paul. Our economy, this building that we're sat in, pulled the Isle of Man out of a hole 20 years ago. The building industry was on its backside, and AG built this.
And we're very near now to getting partners for the casino, so we could do it again.
But it's going to, because here we are 20 years on, we've got to rebuild all the hotel. Just when the island really needs an uplift, that's got to go ahead. All of a sudden, and it's an ill wind, as they say, the publicity of the fire and other factors have brought people expressing an interest now to the table over the casino, and that's a good thing. Serious players in that market, and that could be a wonderful thing for the island.
And finally, let me tell you, when I left Prestatyn in 1971, the wife came to me and she said, what are we going to do about all these begging letters? I said, don't worry, love, keep sending them.
Can I ask, you know, you moved to the Isle of Man. It was a tax thing at the time, obviously.
I was paying 98% tax.
But
Harold Wilson was in charge. Arthur Scargill was in charge. And you know, at the time, I didn't think Arthur Scargill was right, but looking back, he was. He said, if we keep closing down these pits, there'll be hundreds on the dole, and this country will be dependent on foreign oil. The man was right.
But you picked the Isle of Man. I mean, you could have gone to Jersey, you could have gone to...
no, but I still had yes, I could have done, but I remember I still had a business in England that was going. Had to be run. I had to go over 5 days a week. So the Isle of Man was handy.
But it's turned into more than that, hasn't it?
Well, it's become a home now. And it's a safe place, it's a nice island. In fact, if we had more sunshine here, you wouldn't get on the place.
You have made a connection with lots of people here.
Oh, I've got a lot of Manx friends, and a lot of them have passed on too.
I mean, you started the awards, you gave out money, the sports awards, and I think things like when the Manx Independent started, there was an award there, wasn't there, years ago? All these sort of things. I'm trying to get, again, to find out more about you. Why you do that is I mean, I could say you're doing it because it's a tax loss, and you might go, yes, it is. But then again, you may say, because I love the Isle of Man. And
well, I was at the tax loss where you don't pay a lot of tax.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to,
you can
find
get everybody.
that.
If you can find a way of having a tax loss that makes you money, everybody should do it.
Okay, back to the question though. Why do you do that sort of thing, helping other people?
What else can I do with the money? Got to help somebody. It would be nicer if more people that I've helped appreciated a little bit more. But that isn't the way.
Sometimes
it's happened.
That's a sadness for me, because you see, donations go and money gets distributed. The sports awards, cancer, yeah, the education ones, all this, we're talking very, very large sums of money. And the last time we went to the sports awards, there were a number of individuals there that received a lot of money from that benefit. He had 2 people come over and thank him and explain to him what they did with the money and how they're progressing. And, you know, that saddens me because, you know, there are all sorts of issues that spin off from that, because he says to himself, you know, why do I do this? Why do I do it? And I have to ask the question, yeah, why do you do it?
Well, and I'll ask again, why do you do it then?
I don't know. I don't know, I just do it and we'll keep doing it.
Yeah.
If it's in you to do something, you do it.
But you've set up now the trust that will go on indefinitely, because the business side is protected and the donations come from the profits from the business. So it's not a one-off hit. This is something that potentially will run for centuries, just continually being a benefit. And I think that's a wonderful thing.
And is that it? That your name will live on forever then? Is that because you can't, we all can't, but your name will?
I can't answer that question because I won't be around to see it running on.
But people will be watching this in 100,000 years' time.
Where will I be watching it?
No, we won't be watching it.
Will I watch it, and will it be warm then?
What's the tax rate?
I said, do you know that the difference between heaven and hell is? Because I'm fortunate, I've worked out the difference between heaven and hell. When we pass from this world and we go to another place, that is heaven. If that place has windows so you can see what they're doing with the money that you earned, that is hell.
My father always used to say to me, people say, when you go, you can't take it with you. And he always used to reply, and if I can't take it with me, I ain't going.
You're going to stick around then, aren't you?
So I think that sums up your little chat, I think, doesn't it?
Thank you for talking. Did we find anything more about you? I think we did. Did you enjoy doing it? I'm not sure.
I didn't mind doing it. I suppose I enjoyed it, but
enjoy it a bit more if it was warm.
Whether the public enjoy it, I don't know.
It's kind of strange, isn't it, to think we're here. I mean, the time of recording this is a week after the fire, and it's still getting ready for reopening. But as I said in the other one, I think this, in a strange way, you'd love these sort of challenges, don't you? You thrive on.
I did. I haven't got the energy now, Paul. Yeah. You know, I just haven't got the energy. It's difficult getting up in the morning to come to work.
But he manages it, and he carries things, and he always has the notepad, and the notes.
I haven't always had the notepad, Brian. It's only the last few years.
Oh, you've had a note. I've got a press article that was written 20 years ago where I said, and he comes in the morning, and I plagiarise it now, he's made notes on his pad in the night, and he gives me things. He said, buy Cambodia, you know, build a new Menai Bridge and oil the hinges on the kitchen door, and the same emphasis on them all.
And shall I tell you the difference? I'll tell you the difference. 3 pads a year, now it's 30.
Ah.
What? Not remembering everything, you mean?
What
Forgetting things.
What he's saying, Paul, is...
And you see...
you see?
There it is.
There it is. What he's saying, Paul, is that he's noticed in the last few years his brain has slowed down. And if it continues...
No, the brain hasn't slowed down, Brian. It's the memory that's become forgetful. But it comes back in about 2 or 3 minutes. But I can't get continuation, because somebody will speak when I'm speaking, my brain goes to that other subject, and I can't get back to the other subject that I was on to because it's forgotten it for a few minutes, then it comes back. So, and that's to do with, I had 5 mini strokes about 5 years ago. Do you not know about that? Yeah, one night, lying in bed actually, I got up and fell beside the bed, shouted the wife, And I finished up anyway with a brain specialist, and they showed me the x-rays. I had 5 mini strokes in the back of the neck that's affected my balance, so I don't walk steady anymore. One of those things, I suppose.
Did you take that as a warning that you had to slow down, or
Well,
No.
doctors say slow down?
No.
I don't know what you can do. You know, you just can't change your lifestyle just like that. Well, I can't. I try not to do as much, but what's happened at Mount Murray doesn't help. That's the predicament, I suppose, I find myself in.